Alright guys, James Holt back with another video. Today it's hopefully going to be a short one. I just want to go over 7 key points that you want to make sure that you've looked at, you've set up properly before you launch a new product and start sending traffic to it. So, first thing is, or actually there's no particular order here, you just need to make sure that you've done all these steps. Perhaps screenshot this and come back to it before you launch a new product. Make sure you have all these steps taken care of. So the first thing is you've set your product price and your compare at price. Make sure you think of psychological price points when you set the product price and also the compare at price. So prices I like, of course, I love free plus shipping, so oftentimes it's going to be $0 for my front end offers, but then you still want to set the compare at price to perhaps $14.95 or something similar. Even $9.95 can work if you've got a lower shipping cost. So make sure your compare at price is higher than the shipping price if you're doing free plus shipping. So that's important. You want to have a value gap even after the customer pays for shipping. Good price points if you're not doing free plus shipping are $9.95 or $9.99, $14.95 can work, $19.99, $29.99, etc. You know how the prices are set. What big stores use, they use it for a reason and it works. It seems like less when we see $9.99 as opposed to the round number of $10. Make sure you've got a decent gap as well between these. So compare at price can be significantly higher. You don't want to be working with a 10 or 20% discount there. If you're doing a discount offer, if you're advertising the fact that it's 80% off or 50% off, then make sure that the math actually works out where the compare at price is that much higher, resulting in the discount that you promise in your ad and the product page. So moving on, the next key point are high quality images. You have to have good images on the page. You want to remove any text. So often this is easy, sometimes it is not. Remove any brand text that isn't yours. If the AliExpress supplier has their name on the image, you have to get rid of that. Often you can just draw over it if it's on the white background. Otherwise, you're either going to have to become good at Photoshop yourself, look for different pictures, or hire someone to do it for you. Those are your biggest options. If you really want to get creative with this and you want to find better images, perhaps there aren't many good ones, you can either take them yourself, or what you can try is do a Google image search for the most used image for that product. And because we are dropshippers, so we're selling products from AliExpress, there are other dropshippers also doing that, and those pages, those product pages will all come up in the Google image search, and you can then have a look at their product pages. Perhaps they have good images of that product from their customers, from influencers, from models, whatever, that you can then also use on your website. Moving on, the product description. Especially if you're going to be sending traffic to a page, you really have to write a good description. Never, ever, ever leave the AliExpress description in there. It is a horrible default. You're better off having nothing than having what AliExpress has. So make sure you write a product description. That is your sales page. This is where you show your copywriting skills. This is where you introduce the offer, you get people's attention, and you make them desire the product. You end with a strong call to action, telling them to add it to cart today, or else you won't have stock, or else the deal will be over. Add some sort of scarcity, add some sort of urgency. Whether you do that with just the product descriptions or whether you do that with Horrify down here, that is up to you. I usually use Horrify just because an image or a countdown clock or a countdown bar, it says with one image, with one look, people instinctively know what it means, and it's so much more effective for communicating scarcity and urgency compared to just text. But you can also build it into your text. Ideally, you're going to use a combination of both and set these up to work well together. So if your product description says we're giving away 24 of these for Christmas, or whatever the justification is, we're giving away 24 of these items, then set your Shopify scarcity countdown bar to a number lower than 24. You don't want to set it to 50, because then there's something off about it. People instinctively know there's something wrong, it doesn't feel right, it's a clear red flag when one number is higher than the other. You confuse people and you create friction, which is not what you want when you're trying to sell. So you want to have a smooth sales funnel that works together. The number in the ad should match the number in the product page, and Shopify is supposedly the dynamic feature, so it should be lower than the product page and the ad when we're talking about the amount of products you're giving away or the amount of time left until the offer runs out. If you're doing the countdown timer, I usually recommend a time shorter than 3 hours. I usually do a number that is not round, between 2 and 3 hours. So I might set it to 2 hours, 55 minutes and 13 seconds, for example. Others use very, very short countdown timers, like even just 15 minutes can work. But I prefer the longer time span, because quite often customers do come back to my site and buy the product 5 hours later, or 2 hours later, 1 hour later. And if you set it to 15 minutes, it just feels off. People notice that the countdown timer, the whole urgency was fake in the first place. Great new feature, by the way. We're just going to stick to Shopify even though we skipped over a few steps. Great new feature is the in-cart countdown timer. Definitely use that. Very effective. Very, very good new feature. Honestly, I was thinking about getting this coded for me. I wanted to get a developer to code this. I've seen it on other sites and I thought it was an awesome feature. But now, luckily, Shopify has actually released it. So instead of paying money to get it done, I just get it for free, or at least included with the other Shopify features that I already use on all my stores. Highly recommend you do the same. In-cart countdown timer, very effective. So, taking a few steps back because we skipped straight to step 7, make sure you've got a secure checkout badge. So those are those nice images with the Visa, the PayPal logo, stuff like that. Just adding some trust to your website, showing that, or at least giving people the impression that you're trustworthy and not going to scam them. Of course, you know, I know, PayPal buyer protection, you can't rip people off anyway, because they just put in a claim with PayPal and they'll get your money back anyway. Same with the credit card companies. So this is just to calm down the customer. People are still worried about buying online, even though buyer protection is quite strong, at least in Western countries. So just put these secure checkout badges on your site to give people a feeling of trust, of safety when buying from you. Next thing, set the product weight. Now, this matters because I recommend you set your shipping costs tied to the weight of the order. So you're going to want to set the product weights to 0 kilograms if it's free shipping. If you charge for shipping, you're going to want to do 0.1 kilograms, at least the way I set up the shipping costs. If you do it differently, you adjust the numbers accordingly. Just make sure you do this so that you don't sell free plus shipping items without the shipping. So it has happened to me in the past that I haven't set up the product weights properly, so that customers were either charged too much for shipping or not enough, and I either made a loss or had to refund unhappy customers, which is a pain. So I always make a point to double check whether the product weights have been set properly. The final step, again, since we did Shopify before, we talked about that, is to import reviews. What you're going to use for this is Ali Reviews, I believe it's called, Ali Reviews Importer. Very good tool. You go on there, you enter the link to AliExpress, the product, and you can just import reviews straight from AliExpress. Select a few that you think are good, They don't all have to be 5-star. If you've got a mix of 4 and 5 stars, which most reviews on AliExpress actually are, at least for the products that you should be selling. You don't want to sell products that have crappy reviews because, well, products probably suck, so you don't want to sell those, obviously. Import a few reviews, a mixture of just a star rating with no comment, perhaps star rating and comment, and ideally you're going to have 1 or 2 reviews that have a star rating, a comment, and even a picture. That is the ideal situation. You also want to make sure that you only post reviews that are in English or whatever the predominant language of your store is. So obviously don't post Russian comments, don't post French comments if you're an English store. I think that just makes sense. If you're going to use the built-in translator, make sure that they read well. So you don't want reviews that clearly have been translated using Google Translate. So just keep that in mind. Pass on a review if the English is not good. Don't run with a crappy translation, even if it means missing out on a cool picture review. I usually try to get a mixture of countries, so perhaps 2 or 3 reviews from the US, 1 from Canada, and a European, a Russian, or wherever. You don't want to have a bunch of Russian reviews because most likely you're targeting mostly the US, Canada, etc. So just it seems more trustworthy if the reviewers are also from those countries. So that's why you want to show at least a few buyers from the US, from the UK, etc. So that is all there is to say on this. Quick little checklist that I made for myself to make sure I've got everything set up before I launch a product and start sending traffic to it. Recommend you screenshot this and use it for when you're launching your own products. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please do hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We release daily videos on Shopify dropshipping, online marketing, online business, etc. It's got some great content coming to you guys, so definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you very much for watching, or listening rather, and I will see you again tomorrow.